Welcome to an uninhabited island. How did we end up here? Well, I don't know. But now we have to survive here for a couple of days, and I'll teach you all I know. Gladly, wherever I go, I'm always prepared for a situation like this. So in this magical backpack, I've got everything we're gonna need for survival. The first thing is, of course, a knife, which will come in handy in many situations. Surrounded by the ocean, you don't have any drinking water available. Oops, I didn't put any water in the backpack. But don't panic. Your most reliable source of water here is the coconuts. So we need to fetch some of those. If you're lucky to get some green coconuts, you can cut them open with a knife. It's relatively easy. But the problem is that they grow high up on the tree. You're free to climb up there to get some, but it's not gonna be easy. Luckily, when coconuts mature, they turn brown and fall off the tree. The water inside stays safe to drink for about 9 months, so you can pick some up from the ground. The problem here is that they can be pretty hard to open. However, if you're lucky to have a screwdriver, it won't be a big deal. Also, a simple stone can crack a coconut for you. But don't forget to wrap it in a towel or even a t-shirt beforehand. Remember that you can't drink as many coconuts as you want. Don't drink more than 5 brown coconuts a day, unless you want to get an upset stomach. By the way, the same goes for green coconuts. After you drink a brown coconut, don't rush to throw it out. You can scrape off the white part and eat it. It's totally edible. I admit I didn't bring any bowls, but this is once again where coconuts come in handy. It can be turned into one. After you cut it open, you have bowl-shaped pieces. Start by removing all the white stuff from the inside until it's just a shell. This is going to be your bowl, but we'll make it pretty. Scrape the hair off using the knife. Then you can rub it around with sand, making it smoother. The last thing to do is to polish it with the coconut's very own coconut meat. The oils in it will make your bowl shiny and pretty. Okay, the most important skill is to make fire, of course. I did put a couple of lighters and a matchbox in the bag to make it easier, but you just can't be a qualified survivor if you don't know how to start a fire without them. You need to find a curved piece of wood and tie a bowstring to it like this, so it looks like a bow. In case you don't have a nylon cord, a shoestring will work too. So whenever you go traveling, wear shoes with laces, I guess. Next, find a piece of dry hardwood. It will be your spindle. You will need to wrap the string of the bow around it so you can create friction. The spindle can be fixed to a board with a notch that can hold it. Also, you'll need to find another piece of wood that's usually called a hand block. It should have a dimple carved into it, which will make it easier for you to create friction. So here's how it goes. The board holds the spindle, and you twist the bowstring around it just like this. On top, you hold the spindle with a hand block. Then you start moving the bow, rubbing it around the spindle and creating friction. It will start heating up, and in the end, you'll get an ember. After you get an ember, you need to carefully move it to a bundle of tinder and blow on it, trying to start the fire. It's gonna be tough to do it the first time, but after you get a hold of it, you can start the fire in less than 5 minutes. Now that we have the fire, we need food. The obvious choice is to go fishing. So in my magic backpack, I have a fishing kit. It's just a small box with some hooks and strings, but it's gonna be a tremendous help. The rest is just practice and skills. If you manage to catch some, you need to cook it, and that's the easy part now that you have both fish and fire. Wrap your fish in coconut leaves, tie it up with bark, and put it on the coals of your fire. Wait for about 20 minutes, but before eating, make sure it's well cooked. Just pierce the fish at an angle with a fork or a toothpick and twist gently at the thickest point. If the fish is cooked, it will flake easily. Bon appetit! Everything changes when the sun goes down. You have to be prepared for the night. So, during the day, you have to make a shelter out of sticks and palm tree leaves. Pieces of bark can be used as strings, but it's also a good idea to walk along the shore and see what gets washed out. There can be a lot of trash there, and some of that can be useful. If you go to an island, you need to have devices that will help you not to get lost. I have something here. It's a multifunction water-resistant watch I got on Amazon. Apart from the time, there's also a compass, a thermometer, a scraper, a whistle, and even a fire starter. Yeah, you don't really need to spend 2 hours with the sticks, but I wanted to teach you. So take the watch with you as you go into the jungle. We need material for the shelter: sticks, bark, and palm tree leaves, which are actually harder to pull off the tree than you may imagine. So dry ones on the ground work too. Make the roof of the shelter using palm tree leaves, but also put some on the ground for you to lie on. But be careful. Make sure that the leaves you're using are free of snakes, spiders, or scorpions. You don't want any of them in your bed. The other thing is that at night, insects and many other creatures come out, and they will be very happy to join you in your shelter. So the fire and termite mounds around the shelter will help to keep at least some of them away. Others can still sneak in and climb under your clothes, walk on you, and bite you. So, time for the magic backpack. Here, I have a survival sleeping bag. Being just 4 inches long, it doesn't take up much space, but it's tear-resistant, waterproof, and keeps your body heat inside. Plus, it has sealed seams, which will keep out water, wind, and any insects. You can find it on Amazon. Also, don't build the fire right in front of the entrance of the shelter. In this case, you might end up breathing smoke all night. And now you're all set. Just a couple of tips on how to survive. Your phone, which is probably the one thing you'll have with you, is pretty useless here. But not exactly. The screen of your no-signal cell can be used to reflect sun and moonlight to send SOS signals. Second, in conditions when you don't particularly have much water resources, try to keep your body cool. So just walk in the water once in a while so it doesn't get overheated and so that you don't get too dehydrated. And, of course, always have a first aid kit with you. It's the last survival thing I have in my backpack. Also from Amazon. It's a water-resistant bag with a pair of scissors, band-aids, tweezers, bandages, and so on. Pretty useful stuff in the wild. Happy survival, even though I hope you'll never have to do it unprepared.
Welcome back to Science and You. As you're walking in the wild, a snake appears from some dry bushes and bites you above your ankle. How rather unfortunate. Keep calm. You must keep your heart rate and blood pressure low to slow down the spread of the venom. Remove your shoes and socks. Now, you must find out whether the bite came from a venomous or non-venomous snake. If you see 2 deep puncture wounds on your leg, they came from the venomous fellow's fangs. In a non-venomous serpent's bite, you'll see small sharp teeth in a U shape. There are around 600 venomous snake species, and you should look out for vipers and cobras. Each has a different type of venom and needs different treatments. If a viper bites you, don't put pressure on your wound. Trapping the venom in one area could make the tissue damage worse. Then, you must rush to the nearest hospital for treatment. If a cobra bites someone, you must tie the area with a bandage to stop the venom from going further into their system. Keep an eye on the fella that was bitten to make sure they're breathing. Yes, cobra venom can paralyze the diaphragm. Don't suck out the venom. It travels so fast into someone's system, you'll achieve nothing. Take a good look at the snake, and if you can, snap a few photos of it to show the medical staff. Try to have good picture composition. Moving on from snakes to allergies. Most people respond to allergens with a runny nose or some sneezing, but others have far more complicated responses. An itchy rash may be a sign of an allergic reaction. It might look like dermatitis, and it can show up a week after your exposure to an allergen. There was a rare case a few years ago. Someone got braces for the first time, and after a week, they developed an itchy rash under their wristwatch and stomach. As it turned out, they were allergic to the nickel in braces. If you get blisters on your skin after sitting in the sun for 1 to 2 hours, it's probably not sunburn, but an allergic reaction. You may also have some skin redness, tiny raised bumps, and scaling. When that happens, go to the emergency room fast. Experts will run tests and give you advice on how to continue from there. Sometimes different medications might cause it too, or fruits such as limes and parsnips can. If you're allergic to pollen, stay away from fruits and veggies. Some of them have proteins like the ones found in pollen, and your immune system responds to it as real pollen. They can trigger the same allergy symptoms such as itchiness, swelling of the mouth, face, and, well, you know the gist. You're trapped in a car during a winter storm. Outside it's freezing, and you begin to shiver. That's a good thing. When temperatures drop below a comfortable level, your body starts to shake. This action boosts your body's surface heat production by 500%. But shivering can only warm you up for so long. After a while, your muscles will run out of fuel and they'll stop contracting. If someone suddenly stops shaking and they grow tired and want to fall asleep, act fast. Bring them indoors, remove any wet clothes, rub their hands and feet, wrap them in blankets, and find warm, dry compresses to apply to their chest, neck, or lower tummy. Never put a warm compress on their arms or legs. The sudden heat will force cold blood back to the heart, brains, and lungs, causing the body's core temperature to drop. While you're driving down an empty road, you hear an emergency radio broadcast about the weather. A tornado watch in your area means that a tornado is likely to happen. But a tornado warning means a tornado has appeared on the radar or has been spotted in person. You should also be on the lookout for hail. It appears when updrafts within a thunderstorm push the rain into the thick clouds and it freezes. But when a tornado is approaching, hail can arrive without rain. Then, everything gets quiet. The air becomes still, and there's no wind. Suddenly, you'll see the clouds moving quickly in a rotating pattern or toward the sky. You'll hear a loud waterfall sound that will turn into a roar as the tornado gets close. It'll be similar to the sound of trains and jets. Debris will begin to fall, and a funnel-shaped cloud will start to rotate, pulling branches and leaves upwards. If the tornado is not moving to either the left or the right, it might be coming towards you, and you won't realize it until it's too close. Take shelter. Just as you're chilling at home watching TV, you hear an eerie whooshing noise. It sounds like a soft gush of wind, but you confirm there's nothing there after checking all the doors. The next day, you feel pressure in your chest, and it gets worse as the week progresses. The chest pains follow with a dreaded feeling of exhaustion. You can't help but think there's something wrong with your body. But the problems are within your house. You might have carbon monoxide poisoning. When this gas fills your home, it builds up in your bloodstream and it replaces the oxygen in your body. Poisoning can also cause headaches, nausea, and confusion. In those cases, run outside to get fresh air and call emergency service. Also, get a carbon monoxide detector and add it in the hallway or areas where you sleep. Check the batteries twice a year, and when the alarm goes off, step outside and you know who to call. You go ice skating. The ice on the lake seems thicker than it was, and you hear a cracking snap, and you end up in the icy water. First, your body will go into shock because of the sudden change in temperature. Don't worry, it will pass after 1 to 3 minutes. Now, you must find a solid piece of ice and hold on to it. Don't try to climb it. Just put your arms on it, kick your legs, and push the piece forward. It will help you drag your body onto the ice. Once you're on an ice sheet, don't stand up. If you do, your body weight will concentrate on the smaller ice area and it'll break again. Just keep rolling until you're further on the stable ground. What if you have to break the window of a hot car? Car windows have layers of materials that can resist force. Here's what you need to do. Avoid the back windows or the front windshield of the car. They're harder to break. Go for the passenger and driver's side windows. If you've got a hammer, don't hit the glass in the middle. Aim for the edges where the glass breaks easily. Now, if the windows refuse to break with a hammer, screwdriver, or whatever you've got around, look for a small, pointy rock. If that doesn't work either, then your best bet is your car's spark plug. Pop your hood, pull out the spark plug, break the porcelain casing, and throw the broken ceramic piece anywhere at the window. It's the middle of summer, and you're vacationing somewhere on the Pacific Rim. Suddenly, you feel a strong quake. Well, this could be the first warning sign of an approaching tsunami. Or it could trigger large waves thousands of miles across. But there are other telltale signs that a tsunami is approaching. One is a change in water levels, either rising or falling. If you see the ocean withdrawing quickly and the seabed getting exposed, you should run at least 100 feet above sea level and 1 mile inland. Many experts say once the seawater starts receding, you've got 5 minutes to evacuate before the enormous wave hits. Remember, it's all about science and you.
You're up to your neck in cold water. There's ice all around you. You've got to get out. When you're swimming in freezing cold water, your body can get a bit of a shock. Your reflexes might make you want to gasp, but don't. Just do your best to keep your head above water. Throw off any heavy objects like boots, jackets, or backpacks. When you reach some ice, don't just try and jump out. It's not exactly a swimming pool. Try to get into a horizontal position and use your strong legs to swim onto the ice. Use your hands to pull you out. Once you're on the surface, roll away from the edge, then crawl, then walk. If you're venturing into the wild, you may want to get some stuff ready beforehand. Make your own fire starter at home. Heat up some water in a pan, put a Pyrex container in there, and melt some paraffin wax inside it. Then take an egg carton and put some dryer lint in each section. Fill them with paraffin. Wait till it's all solid and cut out each little section. Just one of these little guys will make starting a fire way easier. Dental floss can be super handy for surviving in the wild. You can use it as fishing line with a can tab as a hook, or you can use it as a clothesline. Just stretch it between 2 trees. It looks kind of flimsy, but a single strand can hold up to 5 pounds. It's also quite flammable, so if you're having trouble starting a fire, you can use a few feet of floss to start it up. You can make a seriously strong rope using a simple plastic bottle if you have a good pair of scissors. Cut off the neck of the bottle so it looks like a tall and narrow cup. Then start cutting it like some people peel an orange, round and round in a spiral. Try to keep it the same thickness the whole time. It'll be a lot longer and stronger than you're expecting. You can use it to tie sticks together to make a hut, or you can wrap it around your backpack in case it rips or something. Sugar might be damaging for your teeth, but it's got a pretty sweet superpower. Just pour some on a piece of cloth and use it like a Band-Aid. Oh, delicious. Mosquitoes can be a real pain, and there are loads of them around. You can make your own DIY repellent to keep those little guys away. All you need is an orange, a lemon, or any other citrus fruit. They're full of essential oils that mosquitoes can't stand. Peel an orange and rub the peel directly on your skin. Just make sure to crumple it a bit beforehand to help those precious essential oils come out. Another good way to keep the mosquitoes at bay is to add a bit of orange peel to your campfire. That releases the essential oils into the air. You're getting hungry, but you don't have anything to start a fire with. Empty your pockets. There might be something in there that you can use as a makeshift fire starter. If you have a battery and a metal chewing gum wrapper, you're in business. Cut a thin strip of the wrapper, long enough to connect the two sides of the battery. The middle of the strip should be thinner than the ends. Grab some dry grass, twigs, or even some paper, whatever you're going to use to start your fire. The foil strip should ignite right away, so make sure you're ready. A human can go surprisingly long without food, but not water. Depends where you are, but a lot of the time, it might not be safe to drink. You can make a DIY water filter. Start with a fire. Boiling the water may not be enough, so as soon as those ashes are cool, grind them into a powder. Don't just use any ash you randomly found in the forest. It might have some melted plastic on it or something. Then, you need a plastic bottle. Cut off the bottom and poke a small hole in the cap. Turn it upside down, put about 3 inches of charcoal in, and pour the boiled water in nice and slowly. The drips are ready to drink. If you're getting bits of ash in the water, wrap a piece of clean cloth around the cap for some extra filtration. A char cloth can come in handy if you're lost in the wild. To make it, you're going to need a metal container with a cover. Put a piece of cloth inside it and put the container into a fire for a few minutes. The cloth should end up getting a bit black around the edges, but still be intact. A char cloth catches fire super fast, even with an old school flint. If you're ever hiking in an anaconda's backyard, listen up. Stay away from shallow rivers because these giant snakes love to hang out there. If an anaconda decides to give you a little squeeze, don't exhale. Every time you do, the snake's gonna squeeze you a little bit tighter. Anacondas do have a weak spot though. They don't like their tail to be bitten. It's not exactly delicious, but it'll get the job done. Avalanches are pretty powerful, so remember these tips next time you're out on the slopes if things get a bit hairy. First off, cover your mouth. Use a scarf or some other piece of cloth, and don't let the snow in. Keep one arm straight above your head, and don't forget to dig out a little pocket in front of your face. That'll let you breathe for about a half hour. Get rid of anything heavy you're carrying, even if it's expensive. But make sure you hold onto your backpack. It's an extra layer of protection. And grab onto a tree if you see any. To get back to the surface, move like you're swimming straight up. Snow's just water anyway. If you ever somehow get trapped in a sinking car, don't panic and don't try to open the door. The water pressure from the outside will be too strong. You'll just waste valuable energy, and that door just won't open. The best way to escape is through the windows. Roll them down and swim away. If you're not a great swimmer, you can try to create your own makeshift flotation device, like a plastic bag with air trapped inside. Tie a knot in it and make sure it's tight. A plastic bottle would work great, but one probably won't be enough. You can also use a raincoat or a pair of those waterproof pants. You can even use an upside-down trash can. If you have some car trouble at night, out in the woods for example, you need light to see what you're doing. All you need is a bottle of water or a jug, or even a pickle jar filled with water. Just strap it on a headlight and voila! The water will spread the light so you can see better. Perfect for setting up an emergency tent or finding wood for a fire. Mason jars, those pickle ones, are really handy when it comes to storing matches. If you're camping in a forest, it's really important to hide those matches away, somewhere dry and safe. To make it even more convenient, make a strikeable lid. Cut off the strips on the side of your matchboxes and glue them to the lid of your mason jar. Before your next big outdoor adventure, make sure you're all stocked up on dark chocolate. Chocolate is probably the most delicious survival food, but it's also one of the best. It's loaded with calories and helps keep your mood up. Plus, you don't need a fork, plate, or fire to prepare it. Last one for today, people. Still having trouble lighting that fire? Look no further than that bag of chips you secretly hid from your fellow campers. Corn-based chips are everywhere these days. And apart from tasting delicious and turning your fingers a weird color, they have one more trick up their sleeve. You can use them to start a fire. These kind of chips are flammable, so make a little mound of chips and keep that dry wood handy. They'll light in seconds.
The helicopter has dropped you in the middle of a tropical jungle. You're to prove you can survive in the wild. The jungle is filled with all kinds of beasts. As you go, write down your answers. At the end, they'll help you find out if you have what it takes to survive for real. You're in a small glade before a dense jungle. You need to go through it to reach the first checkpoint. You only have a bottle of water, a box of matches, and a phone in a waterproof case. As soon as you take a step, a loud growl from behind makes you freeze. You see a big lion, and it's not happy to meet you. There's no point in running away. The lion is faster and also excellent at climbing trees. It's getting closer. What are you going to do? Raise your hands, scream, and throw a bottle of water at the lion to scare it. Open the bottle and pour water over the lion. Turn your back to it and not move. You've got 7 seconds. Never turn your back on a lion. The beast knows to be wary of humans, so start making noise and throw a bottle at it. This should help, but if the lion doesn't leave, then you should start slowly retreating. This time, the bottle helped you. The lion runs away, you take the bottle from the ground and go into the jungle. You make your way through the thicket and see 2 bear cubs. They growl so sweetly and seem to want to play with you. You think they're thirsty, so you open the bottle. What will you do next? Give them some water to drink. Take a photo with the cubs because they're so cute. Quickly escape from this place as fast as possible. Every second is important. You need to quickly run away from this place. If there are cubs here, then their mother is somewhere nearby. She will come at you if she sees you near her children. While running, you trip over a root and fall. It seems you managed to get away, but wait, something big is coming towards you from the right. You turn your head and see a huge grizzly bear. It growls and stands up on its hind legs. What to do now? Get up and quickly run away? Climb the nearest tree and wait for the bear to leave. Pretend to be unconscious and don't move. The bear is getting closer. Decide now. The beast seems clumsy but runs very fast and is excellent at climbing trees. In case of the grizzly, you need to lie down and freeze, proving that you don't mean any harm. The bear sniffs at you and seems to leave, but don't get up just yet. It can stay nearby and look at you to make sure you really are unconscious. After 10 minutes, you open your eyes and feel the bear is gone. Now, we'll ignore the fact that bears don't live in jungles and continue our adventure. You're making your way through the jungle again. You can see the river ahead, but before you reach it, you need to solve the problem with a pack of wolves. Wolves in a jungle, never mind. They're looking at you as their prey, slowly surrounding you. Your choice of actions? Don't let them surround you, press your back against a tree, then quickly climb it. Use matches to set fire to the grass. The fire will scare away the wolves. Scream and splash water in different directions. Wolves are afraid of fire, but now you don't have enough time to make it. Don't let them surround you. Any tall tree will save you. First, press your back against it, then quickly climb up before the wolves get to you. Night falls. You're sitting in a tree. The wolves are tired of waiting for you and leave. You go down, build a fire to warm up, and cook food. By the way, what will you have? Berries. You found ripe purple and red ones. They look delicious and seem juicy. Ants. You've stumbled upon a large anthill. Mushrooms. They don't look much like fly agaric, which means you can eat them. So, what's on the menu tonight? Surprisingly, ants are now the most edible thing for you. You can't eat berries and mushrooms if you don't know what they are. They may be poisonous. After a hearty dinner with your aunt, You wait for dawn and continue on your way. The jungle ends and you come out on a wide green clearing with a large lake nearby. You carefully tread through the open area and suddenly hear a rapid rumbling in the distance. You look around and see a wild boar. It's rushing right at you, snorting and roaring. What will you do? Run towards the boar shouting. It will confuse the animal. Lie down on the ground and pretend to be unconscious. Run back to the forest and climb a tree. Hurry up, you don't have much time. You need to climb the nearest tree. Wild boars will eat anything they can. So you climb a tree, but the boar is waiting for you on the ground. An hour passes, a second, a third. The boar doesn't even think to leave. Fortunately, a bear appears nearby. It scares the boar away and doesn't notice you. You wait until the animals are out of sight, then climb down the tree. You finally come to a lake. You need to swim across it. The good news, you're a good swimmer. The bad news is that there's a shark in this lake. Freshwater shark, huh? Hey, let's just go with it. You dive into the water and swim to the opposite bank. On the other side, there's a small pier with a moored old fishing boat. Where will you go? To the pier with a boat or to the sandy bank? Don't get closer to the fishing boat. It gives off the smell of fish that attracts the shark. Most likely, it lurks near the pier. You swim to the bank and see a fin next to the boat. It turns and starts quickly toward you. The shark has spotted you. What will you do? Try to swim to the shore as quickly as possible. Don't swim away, turn to the shark and move very slowly. Dive underwater and start waving your arms to scare the shark. Well, you need to stop. If you start swimming away, the shark will think you're its prey. Take a deep breath and try not to make unnecessary movements. The shark swims away and you calmly reach the shore. It's only a short distance to your destination now. There's a swamp on your way. You walk around it, then notice some green mud slowly moving towards you. It's an alligator. It comes out of the swamp and wants you to become its lunch. What will you do? Quickly run away? Lie on the ground face down and don't move? Jump on the alligator's back to scare it. Well, alligators are fast animals, but they're only good on short distances. So don't hesitate and immediately run away. The alligator won't even try to catch up if you're far away. Ahead, you can see a flag stuck in the ground. This is your destination point. You happily run towards it and hear a hiss. You stop and stare at the grass. Within it, you notice a small snake. It seems venomous, but you don't want to check it. What will you do? Find a long stick and point it at the snake so it lashes out of the stick instead of you? Move to a safe distance and get around the snake. Hiss loudly in response to scare the snake away. The simplest answer is the most correct. The snake won't jump if you retreat. You step aside and run back to the flag. Finally, you have completed your mission and survived. In the sky, you see a helicopter flying by. It seems they don't see you. It almost flies away, and you need to do something to make the pilot notice you. You have matches, water, and your phone. What are your actions? You don't have time to build a fire, you need to use the phone screen. Catch a ray of sunlight and point it towards the helicopter. Yeah, you've been spotted! The helicopter picks you up and you check your points during the flight. 0 to 2 points, you're nothing but prey for wild animals. But after this video, your chances of survival increase. 3 to 7 points, not every animal will dare to come at you, but you still need to be careful. 8 to 11 points. You have proven that the human stands at the top of the food chain. Just be extra careful around those jungle grizzly bears. Okay, you're falling off a cliff. You somehow didn't know about her boyfriend. Dang, you're in a tight spot. Time to break the way down into several parts. Try grabbing anything you see as you plummet. shrubs, trees, or rocks. This way, you divide a long fall into several short ones. With each new fall, the impact will decrease. If enough of the impact is absorbed, it means you've got a better chance of survival and another chance at love, but not with her. Same for if you drop out a window. Try to cling to anything on your way. It probably won't hold you, but at least you'll have several falling intervals to help decrease your speed. A canopy to stop you can be a real lifesaver, no matter if it's plastic or glass. It'll hurt either way, but you'll survive. Maybe. You also need to bend your knees a little. If bent, your legs will touch the ground simultaneously, and the consequences will be less severe. Another tip is that whenever you land, try to do so on the tips of your toes and never on straight and locked legs. Don't forget to cover your head with your arms. They will help protect your noggin, no matter if you land on concrete or in a puddle of mud. Now, quicksand is not as dangerous as shown in movies. If you get stuck in quicksand, dang, you're in a tight spot. First off, stay calm. Then, you're not likely to sink more than up to your waist. Toss away anything that makes you heavier – shoes, bags, even clothing. Wiggle your legs to create room for water. It'll help you get away. Your arms should always be up. Try floating, but not on your stomach. Move backward with small steps. Big steps are harder to take, so it'll take longer to get out. When you reach solid surface, roll out of that quicksand. Surviving a wild animal attack may be challenging, but a crowd of people is not any less dangerous. The crowd may move like a fluid, not letting you escape. If you're trapped between hundreds of people, dang, you're in a tight spot. Rule number 1 is not to stop. Stopping is the fastest way to fall. If you actually do fall, make an air pocket. Your arms should be placed above your face and chest, embracing them. If you manage to stay upright, as soon as you feel the surge coming, move with it and sideways at the same time. If you're lost in the wilderness and need to go fishing, you can use a can tab. Shape it in the form of a hook. Cut it at a slant and trim off the metal to make it look like an actual hook. The main thing is to create a sharp point. A can can also become a makeshift cooker. Take a can and cut out a hole from the side. Put some kindling inside and set it on fire. You can fry an egg on top of it. Dental floss can be super handy for surviving in the wilderness. First, use it as a fishing line together with a can tab hook. It can also serve as a clothesline stretched between 2 trees. It's thin, yet a single strand can hold up to 5 pounds. You can make a spear by binding a long stick and a knife together with dental floss. It's also quite flammable, so if you don't have any kindling to set larger pieces of wood on fire, try burning it. Dental floss can also be great makeshift shoelaces. A simple plastic bottle can make a very strong rope if you have a good knife. First, you need to find a small stump. It should have a diameter about the same as your bottle. Make a slit across the middle of the stump. Then cut a notch out of the stump large enough for your knife blade to fit inside. Cut off the bottleneck and make a small notch on its edge. Its width depends on the rope width you want. Place the edge of the bottle inside the center slit and put the knife in the notch in the stump with the blade towards the slit. Start slowly dragging the bottle through the slit. You'll see the bottle spin. As it spins, the blade will cut out the rope. You can use it to build a hut because it can secure logs really well. Now, a human can go several days without food, but there's no way we can survive without water. Water in the wild can be delicious sometimes, but if you feel like it's not safe to drink, you may need a makeshift water filter. Start with a fire. Boiling water may not be enough, so as soon as the fire ashes are cold, grind them to a powdery consistency. Don't use charcoal you randomly found in the forest. You never know what's in there. Then you need a plastic bottle. Cut off the bottom and make a hole in the cap. Turn it upside down, put in some charcoal, 3 inches are enough, and pour the water over it. The dripping water is ready to drink. To catch any excess charcoal, wrap the cap with a piece of clean cloth for extra filtration. Okay, you're getting hungry and you probably need to start a fire. Dang, you just don't have any matches or a lighter. Empty your pockets to see if you can make a makeshift fire starter. If you have a battery, probably the one from your flashlight, and a gum wrapper, that's enough. You need to cut a thin strip of the foil wrapper, yet long enough to connect the two ends of the battery. The middle of the strip should be slimmer than the ends. Get closer to the pile of dry grass, small logs, or even some paper, whatever you're going to use to start your fire. The foil strip will ignite in seconds, setting the kindling on fire. Mosquitoes are a real pain, and there are loads of them in the woods. You can make your own DIY repellent to keep those bad guys away. All you need is an orange, a lemon, or any other citrus fruit that's full of essential oils. Peel an orange and rub the peel directly on your skin, crumpling it a bit beforehand to make those precious essential oils come out. One more useful way of keeping mosquitoes at bay is to add a few orange peels to your tinder. While burning, the essential oils will release and frighten those pesky guys away. If you want to send a signal that you're lost and it's an emergency, cover 3 small fires with any green vegetation, like grass, and then cover it again with some wet fabric. You'll have big, white smoke puffs. 3 puffs in a row means emergency. Adding some oil to your fire will turn the smoke black. If you don't have oil, use birch bark instead. Remember, the higher you start the fire, the better, so climb to a visible area. If someone has your hands tied together, dang, you're in a tight spot. The first thing to do is move your wrists to loosen that tie. Ropes can usually be cut through with friction against hard and sharp objects. If you're tied up with a zip tie, try to break it. Clench your fists, press the knuckles together, raise your hands above your head, and then bring them down sharply. The pressure will snap the tie. You may also try to slip out of the zip-tied knot. First, clench your fists. The wrists will go larger like this, widening the bonds. When you relax your hands, the bonds loosen, so you may slip out. Duct tape can be chewed through, or if you moisten it, it will turn softer and easy to loosen. You can even moisten it with your saliva. Crossing a water current may be more dangerous than it seems. When crossing, choose a straight and wide section. Before stepping into the water, check if the current's not too fast. Throw a stick in it, and if it moves faster than your average walking pace, consider crossing at a different location. Or you could just look around for a boat that's nearby. No need to be silly about it.
You're driving around with your friend Annie in the wild Australian outback. The sun is scorching hot, but you see a mob of cute kangaroos hopping around. You stop the car and you get out to film them with your friends. You even go live to impress your friends and followers. Suddenly, one of the kangaroos leaps towards you at full velocity, ready to swing. Alright, let's freeze right here for a second before you or your friend get hurt. Kangaroos have extremely powerful legs and can jump around 30 feet in the air. Those strong legs can let them hop at speeds of up to 30 miles per hour, faster than any average human. So if you're thinking of outrunning a mob of angry kangaroos or a single kangaroo, then don't. They'll chase after you and knock you down before you even reach your top speed. Their tails are strong and sometimes act like a fifth limb when they're grazing in a field. Kangaroos generally eat grass like cows, but also feast on shrubs, moss, and even fungi. Their tails are essential for keeping balance. They can stand as tall as 6 feet, with their tail making up half of that. Back to you guys. The kangaroo is only a few feet away from you. The first thing you have to do is protect your body. Turn it sideways and extend your arm out. Make sure your head is out of reach. Their paws have very sharp claws, so you don't want them laying any jabs on you, especially your head. They kick with both feet, which means they rest their body on their tails and extend both legs to push kick their aggressors, aka Annie and you. Their feet are huge, which makes them even more dangerous. Well, time is still frozen, so you and Annie get into position and are ready for the kangaroo attack. And action! The kangaroo stands face to face with you like a boxer in a ring. It moves closer, but you're in the correct position to reduce damage from your end as much as you can. Even though you know how to defend yourself, facing off with a 6-foot kangaroo isn't the best idea. The best you can do is slowly back away without startling it. Don't turn your back on it, you might get a surprise attack. If backing up doesn't help, let it know it's won this battle. Don't return any eye contact if you can. Cower yourself. You might have missed some warning signs while observing them from afar. The kangaroos weren't stomping their feet because they were excited to see you. They were telling you not to come any closer. When one of them hopped over to you, it stood high on its legs and flexed its muscles to show dominance. The biggest fail of all is that you pulled over while they were grazing peacefully. They thought of you as a threat and went into defensive mode. The mob has several joeys, or baby kangaroos, sticking their heads out of their mother's pouches. Female kangaroos have a pouch on their belly made of a fold of skin to house the babies. When they're first born, they're only the size of a grape, but then blossom to the giants that they are. Only after 10 months, joeys are old enough to move out of mom's pouch and hop on their own. So, you and Annie survived that confrontation for now. But what happens when you're face to face with a 40-foot kangaroo? I'm just kidding, we're keeping it real here. It would be super difficult to face off with a grizzly bear. The first thing you would need to know about grizzlies is that they're very cute when they're berry picking, or just scratching their backs on tree bark. But their dark side is scarier than a kangaroo's. You're having a little picnic with Annie when suddenly a grizzly bear approaches after smelling some yummy food. Don't panic, we'll freeze time here to give you a chance to think about what to do. In general, the best way to survive a grizzly attack is to avoid it altogether. Grizzlies are wanderers, always looking for the best spots to find some food. Their sense of smell is impeccable, so its nose led the bear right to your picnic. The bear is very close to you. No need to panic. You should show the bear that you're just a visitor on its territory. Back away slowly while speaking in a low and calm tone. It needs to know that you're submitting to it, as it's the dominant creature in this encounter. There's a lot of tension when you're face to face with a bear, so don't turn your back and make a break for it. That will only let the bear chase you down, and you won't win in that race. They're faster than humans and can swim and climb trees, so unless you sprout some wings and fly away, do not try to outrun a grizzly bear. Next, you should avoid eye contact. Just like the cute and cuddly kangaroos, bears take it very seriously and watch your every move. They also consider direct eye contact as a sign of aggression, as if you want to challenge them. Grizzlies also like to play a game of chicken. They wait to see your moves and can even fake a charge to see how you're going to react. Either way, you have to stand your ground. If the bear lowers its head and protrudes its neck towards you, then it knows that it wants to charge right at you. Since we froze time for now, we can't know for sure what its next move is going to be. Let's jump back into action to see what it'll do, because you'll have to plan your next move depending on the bear's move. And action! The grizzly bear isn't showing any signs of aggression so far. It's just curious about the setting. Remember your training, no eye contact. Okay, the bear is showing some signs of aggression now, which means it could potentially attack you. Stand your ground, it's getting closer. The best thing to do in this scenario is to completely submit to it by laying face down on the ground, covering your head with your arms. Don't move. The bear might understand that you're submitting to it and walk away. Sometimes bears will stick around for a while before leaving you alone. Luckily, this bear only wanted the food from the picnic, so it grabs the sandwiches and runs away. You guys were lucky this time, but if the bear did attack you, you'd have to fight it off as much as you can. You can use any objects nearby to help you. It's best to aim for the most sensitive spots, like the bear's eyes and nose, with all your strength. What makes cougars stand out from other predators is that they're excellent stalkers. You're hiking in the forest, and you don't realize that you have an unwelcomed guest along with you. Cougars will stalk you if they think you're good to eat and can pounce from out of nowhere, and if it knows it's the right time. These giant cats generally don't attack people, but who knows what's on their mind. The rule of thumb when face to face with a cougar is pretty much the same as with other animals. Stand your ground and don't run. Running will only trigger the cat, as it will outrun you for sure. These cats are strong and have very quick reflexes. Their claws are powerful and their bites are even worse. You don't want to be chased by one of these. Now that you're standing your ground, make yourself appear bigger than the cougar. That's right, raise your arms and puff out your chest. Always keep eye contact to try to assert dominance. You don't have to appear weaker or submissive to the cat, unlike when facing a grizzly or a kangaroo. On the contrary, You need to show that you're more powerful than it is. So don't cower down or break a sweat. It's watching your every move. The next steps really depend on the cougar. Let's resume, shall we? Okay, it's showing signs of aggressive behavior. It's a tough kitty, and it doesn't want to lose this game. If appearing tall doesn't do anything, then try waving your arms around and shout from the top of your lungs. If you can throw some rocks at it to scare it off, then it would be another plus for you. The kitty looks like it wants to attack. No matter what, stand your ground. After a while, the cougar submits and runs away. You won this encounter. Now, just because you got away with this doesn't mean you're good in the future. If the cougar did attack you, then your only option would be to fight back. Find some objects nearby to help you, and don't give up.
Well, you finally made it. After all that training, you're ready for your first skydive. Full of confidence, you reach the door of the plane as it gets to 12,000 feet. You step off into the air, but at the last second, you hear the instructor screaming something.
Sorry, I didn't check your chute.
Well, you can't hear him as you drop away from the plane, seeing only his concerned expression. Well, feels like something has gone wrong. You pull the handle to release the parachute, but it hasn't deployed correctly, opening into a big wad, and you're now spinning faster and faster. You're getting dizzy, but you need to pull yourself together. Each second is crucial, and from this altitude, you have less than a minute to act. You throw yourself into the Bowman formation, spreading your body out with your arms and legs forming a big X. This creates a little more drag, allowing you to stabilize a bit. Hey, this whole thing is a drag. Now you have more time to get to your emergency reserve chute. Still dizzy from spinning, you try to remember where it is. You grab what you think is the right strap and pull it hard. Oh no, that's a leg strap. You've loosened the container on your back and now you're slipping out. This is not your lucky day. You hold on and tighten up the leg strap. Oh yeah, the safety procedure is coming back to you now. Step 1, cut away from the main parachute with the red handle. Done! Now you're in free fall again. Step 2, now find the silver ripcord handle to pop the reserve chute. Gotta hurry, the ground is rushing up at you. Where's that handle? Whoops, there it is, sitting on your chest on the left. You yank it hard. Ka-thump! The chute flies out and deploys and slams the brake on your descent. Now you're relieved. Breathtaking? Heart-pounding? Oh yeah! Finally, you can enjoy the view. For about 10 seconds before you land on the ground, softly, feet first. Hey, looks like fun, sign me up. On another day, as always, instead of taking the stairs, you use the elevator. Now the odds of it falling are 1 in 10 million. You're 10 times more likely to be hit by lightning. But today, you're in that unlucky elevator. As you move down from the 5th floor, the pulley system fails, a cable snaps, and the elevator starts falling. Quickly, you lie down on your back, placing one arm around your head to protect it from the impact, and the other arm over your face to save it from possible falling objects. You spread your legs out evenly. In just a couple of seconds, you brace for impact. It crashes down, and debris from above falls around you. Fantastic job! You've avoided injury. But could it be possible to alter the impact by jumping? Well, let's think this through. If you jump too early, your impact would be more severe as your speed would increase in the descent. And if you jump too late, the velocity of your jump upwards would cause you to bump your head as the elevator would have stopped. You need to jump at the precise moment to be effective in velocity, and without the ability to see through steel, it would be down to sheer luck. So it's better to use the lie-down method. Yeah, good luck with that. You casually drive to work, passing over the same bridge as any other day. Today, there's more traffic than normal, and you're stuck in a jam. The bridge starts to creak. Unfortunately, it's possible for structurally faulty bridges to collapse under excess weight. And there you are. As the bridge falls into the river, your car floats on top. The water is slowly rising around you as it starts to sink. You're trying to remain calm and take a deep breath. You have up to 2 minutes before the car completely sinks. You need to act fast and roll down the window. As you take off your seatbelt, you notice the water has risen above the windows. You try to roll them down, but they're stuck in place from the pressure. You've missed your opportunity. You're sinking further down and thinking about opening the door. Better not. This will make your vehicle sink even faster. Plus, it'll be more dangerous to exit. The car hits bottom, and the water is slowly entering it. You try to open the door, but the pressure is so intense that it won't budge. You think about the water coming in. Maybe if you waited until there's enough water inside, it could regulate the pressure, allowing the doors to open. But with the limited air that would remain, and if the doors still don't work, that's too much of a risk. Your only choice is to smash the window. You can do it easily due to the water pressure, and it spills in quickly. You take your last deep breath while holding onto the window frame. The car fills in quickly, and the suction suddenly stops. You pull yourself through the window and place your feet on the car, push upwards, and swim to the surface. Yeah, remind me not to carpool with you. Next, you're out hiking in a forest and find the perfect place to view the sunset. You take a photo, and it looks great. But wait, which way is it back to camp? It's getting dark, and you have no idea how you got here. You check your phone. It has a map, so you'll be fine, right? Well, you've taken way too many nature pics, and the battery has run out. You can survive up to 3 hours without shelter in harsh weather. You can go without water for 3 days, and up to 3 weeks without food. You need to address your next actions in order of importance. So your first task is to build a shelter. You lean a large stick onto a tree for the roof support. Then you build 2 walls on the sides, making a sturdy frame. There are plenty of leaves in the forest, and you cover the roof with heaps of them for insulation and protection. On the inside, you build a nice leafy mattress. You enter and wait until morning, hoping to have a relaxing sleep. Well, you've slept horribly, but there's no time to leave a review on your booking app. The next task is finding water. You follow a clear decline in the land, eventually finding a stream. Clean water? Check. You continue to walk with the stream's flow, hoping it leads you to a river. You are more likely to find people and signs of civilization along large collections of water. Hours pass and your belly grumbles. You look around for tasty snacks. There are berries and mushrooms, but you don't recognize them. So it's better not to eat something if you're unsure whether it's poisonous. You search under old logs and branches for bugs. You've found some mealworms that can be eaten raw. Some insects, when cooked, can be a major source of iron, protein, and vitamin B12. You look at them and your appetite goes away. Maybe later. Finally, the stream connects to a river, and just ahead of that, a bridge. Not the one that fell down. Well, the struggle is over. You throw the bugs away and begin the next adventure, finding a diner. Yeah, we're not going camping together either. Next, you're walking in a field. The wind is picking up, and not far away, a tornado is forming. You start running away from it, but you can't outrun it as it travels up to 60 miles per hour. Your main concern isn't the tornado itself, but the trees and buildings that the twister takes in, turning them into dangerous flying objects. They fly at crazy speeds as they're carried by fast winds, reaching up to 300 miles per hour. You look for shelter, but there's nothing available. Your only possibility is a ditch that's not surrounded by trees or other breakable objects. You lie wedged in a ditch and cover your head with your jacket, holding it down with your arms for protection. While lying flat, with that thundering noise around you, you feel like you're in a giant jet engine. It's a terrifying sound, but luckily, you're not in the tornado's pathway. You can hear the small debris whistling over your head, and many make an impact, thudding all around you, but thankfully they miss. Suddenly, everything goes calm. You lie there controlling your breathing, trying to relax. You don't get up, not yet, as the worst may be yet to come. Tornadoes can last from several seconds to up to an hour. You're not taking your chances and remain in your ditch for the full hour. But finally, when it's clear that it's gone, you dust off your jacket and head home. Meanwhile, you're really bad luck, so I'm removing you from my contacts and unfriending you on social media. And I'll do that once I get out of the hospital.
It was a routine flyover for the Coast Guard. Miles and miles of deep blue ocean. Suddenly, guardsmen noticed a makeshift flag on a deserted island between Key West and Cuba. They lowered from 500 feet to see what was going on there. 2 men and a woman were waving hands in distress. It was apparent they needed immediate help. The crew couldn't land at once because of the bad weather. but they dropped some food, water, and a radio to discover why they were there. They learned the castaways had been there in the Bahamas for a whopping 33 days already. Their boat hit a storm and capsized, and all they could do was swim to the nearest island. They also informed the crew the woman needed help as soon as possible. The next day, the rescue crew arrived in a helicopter and took the castaways to a hospital in Key West. This helped them avoid any serious consequences for their health. Everyone who took part in the rescue operation was surprised at how well the rescuees handled the situation and how coherent their speech was. So, 5 weeks on an island with no food or drinkable water sources. How did they survive, you might ask? Well, they were smart enough to have used coconuts to stay hydrated and conchs for food. And they did a great job building the flag for prospective rescuers to see. That's one of the secrets of surviving if you ever find yourself in a similar situation. Burn damp or wet wood to produce some smoke. Arrange flares in a triangle. Pile large rocks spelling out SOS or help. These are all internationally recognized distress signals. If you're changing your location for some reason, leave an arrow made out of rocks, showing which direction you went. To ensure the rescuers can not only see you, but hear you, make a whistle out of an acorn. Hold an acorn cap with both hands between your thumb and index finger. Make a triangle with your thumbs near the top of the acorn. Hold it close to your mouth and let some air through that triangle in the cap. You've got to practice a bit to make a loud sound. Ouch! That was too loud. If you get lost, remember the rule of 3 to stay calm and do the right things in the correct order. You can survive 3 minutes without air, 3 hours in extreme temperature, 3 days without water, and 3 weeks without food. So, start with building a shelter, then get water, and only then take care of the food. If you're in better luck than the Bahamas castaways and have some matches with you, make them waterproof. Cover them with a thin layer of transparent nail polish and let them dry well. To always have something to light them with, glue a piece of sandpaper to a plastic box lid and put matches inside. Packing for a hike? Cotton clothing won't keep you safe and warm out in the wild. It takes forever to dry from sweat or rain, and wet clothes lose heat 25 times faster than dry clothes. If you don't want to freeze, go for polyester, nylon, or wool. Pack some microfiber towels with you that dry in 1 hour. What is that buzzing? Before you run away in horror, remember that the presence of bees is a good sign. They usually don't go further than 4 to 5 miles away from a water source. But it looks pretty dirty, huh? You can use your t-shirt or a bandana as a water filter. Put one end of it in a container filled with muddy water, standing above an empty container for clean water. The other end goes in there, and the water pours in, cleaning itself on the way. Make sure to boil the filtered water before you drink it. Ran out of water? The trees have got you covered. They always lose some water to the atmosphere, and it's all yours to trap. Find a thick green tree with a lot of branches. Around sunrise, tie a plastic bag over the branch with the most leaves to cover them completely. Add a small rock to the bag to weigh it down a bit. During the day, the water from the leaves will condense right into your bag. The final product will be so pure, you won't even need to filter it. If you see a halo around the sun, it's a clear sign low pressure is approaching. And it will surely bring some rain or snow in the next 24 to 36 hours. If the halo is broken, you can even predict where the storm is coming from, right from the damaged side. Sounds like a storm is coming. You can make yourself a waterproof trash bag mini shelter to come out of it dry and warm. Just make a hole for your face and put it on. Use 2 bags to keep your feet dry too. If you hear thunder, count the seconds between it and the lightning flash. If it's less than 30 seconds, you have to hide somewhere because the storm is too close. If you can't do that, stay away from tall lone trees. If you're in a group, spread out to minimize the risks of everyone getting shocked. You can also build an A-frame shelter out of a trash bag. Find some sticks for the central rib. Split the bag into a blanket and cover the rib with it. Use 4 rocks to keep the corners down. Trash bag or no trash bag, never build your shelter on damp ground or on the top of hills. The wind might get extra strong at night, and there will be no trees to protect your shelter from flying away. Now that you've got yourself some shelter, make a good bed inside. Use dry leaves or grass. Get them under your clothes or blankets for an extra layer of insulation. This tip works both for winter and summertime. You always risk losing more body heat than you can produce. Don't have a rope on you? You can make one yourself out of plants. Find some long grasses, or even better, dry ones, and weave them together in a braid or just a cord. You can also use bark from trees or branches you find on the ground. Before you venture into the wild, especially the wild with plenty of bushes and thickets, make sure your shoelaces won't get caught on the branches. Tape the loose ends with duct tape to your upper ankle, and voila, you won't fall, at least because of tangled laces. As you prepare for your adventure, master at least one basic knot. Trust me, it can be life-saving. The bowline will help you if you need to attach something to a rope via a loop. The tighter you pull, the tighter the knot gets. Lay the rope across your hand and form a small loop in it. Pull the free end up and take it through the eye from the underside. Sounds too complicated? Remember it like this. The rabbit comes out of the hole, around the tree, then back down the hole. So yes, you gotta wrap the line around the standing line and take it back down through the loop. Now tighten it and your knot is ready. If you have some food on you that you'd like to keep edible for longer, put it into a plastic bag or thin fabric and seal it up. You can use a rubber band, a hair tie, or a bungee cord. Dig a hole in the loose soil deep enough to host your food. Cover it with a hand towel so hungry animals don't find it before you. Refill the hole with soil and add some moss, straw, or leaves to smooth it down. If there's some ice or snow available, use it for a super cooling effect. Be sure to mark your cache somehow so you can find it later. Now you have 2 to 3 days before the perishables go bad. You're flying over the Pacific Ocean when suddenly a storm hits the plane, causing it to shake. The aircraft begins to descend and you lose control. You quickly put on a parachute, eject yourself from the plane, and land on an island. It's a good thing you were the only one on the plane transporting some goods overseas. Luckily enough, the storm hasn't damaged your parachute. You unstrap yourself and head to the closest shelter under some palm trees. You're waiting for the storm to be over. The next day, the sun is shining and the waves seem nice and friendly. You wake up and look around. Nothing but a large stretch of water encircling you from all directions. Not a boat, human, or another living being is around. You scout the island, trying to find anything. You don't even know what you're looking for. On one side of the small island, you see some scrap metal and remnants of the plane washed ashore. You rush over there and try to see if there's anything useful. Too bad everything is destroyed. However, one sealed box has made it. You open it and see dozens of duct tape rolls piled on top of each other. After going through the island, you head back to your camp, dragging the box of duct tape. You try to figure out what to do. Soon, you get a light bulb moment. There are some places on the island that are hard to access, and since your shoes have been damaged, you fashion out some sandals. To do it, you grab some branches and try to use duct tape to make a new pair of shoes. After many failed attempts, you almost give up. But then, you attach some duct tape to pieces of tree bark that are roughly the size of your foot. Those are going to be the soles of your new shoes. The duct tape is smooth and won't hurt your feet. After adding several branches, you wrap the duct tape around your feet, and voila! You have duct tape sandals. Now you can venture into the rocky parts of the island without damaging your feet. as you walk along the island, you start feeling the heat. You wrap your shirt around your head, but it's not enough to protect you. You use some duct tape to create a hat with the help of leaves. Then you place it on your head. You're now safe to go. After a while, you bring back some stuff you found around the island. By this time, you've started to feel that your tummy is rumbling. Next, at a rocky reef, you spot some large, yummy crabs and fish, but you can't catch them with your bare hands. You grab a long branch, take some palm tree leaves, and tie everything together to make a net. You then use the duct tape to reinforce it and head to the reef. You're wearing your makeshift sandals and the hat to protect your head and carrying the net to catch some fish. So far, you've only used 2 rolls of duct tape. After a while, you manage to catch some fish and crabs and take them back to the camp. You make a fire and start grilling your catch. You're sitting on a log, but such a seat isn't too comfortable. You take some duct tape and make a mat for yourself. Once the food is ready, you feast on it. Now another problem: water. There's no fresh water around, but a storm is coming. Meanwhile, you take some coconuts and eat dessert while drinking coconut milk to freshen up. You prepare a small hut by gathering branches and leaves and duct taping them together so that water can't seep into your new home. At the same time, you create a funnel out of duct tape to collect rainwater. After getting into the funnel, the water is collected in a makeshift pond, also made out of duct tape. At this point, you've used almost half of the duct tape rolls. The storm starts brewing, and you stay inside your hut, where you have your new floor mat. You're bored, so you create a chair and table out of duct tape to make the hut a little comfier. It starts raining, and you notice that some water has gathered in the reservoir you built. You immediately drink it, using a coconut shell as a glass. Your hut manages to withstand the storm, and you catch some Z's on your comfy mat. The next day, you check the duct tape supply and see that you are now halfway to finishing your last roll of tape. You've made a secured and solid hut and have a steady food supply from the reef. You've already spent 5 days on the island, so now it's time to find a way out. You've tried your best to seek help, but nothing. Not a plane or ship in sight. You're desperate to get out, and you're lucky. You spot a cargo ship very far off in the distance. You need to act quickly. After reviewing your box of duct tape, you decide to create a raft to sail away. You gather enough food and water for the journey and get to work. You start by collecting large logs for a base and setting them side by side. You have some rope made from tree bark and leaves to tie the logs together. It's big enough to fit you. You then get another set of logs and place them on top of the base and repeat the same process to create a second layer. This way, you minimize the risk of sinking. In the end, you duct tape all weak spots to reinforce your raft. You use some branches to create oars for rowing with paddles made out of duct tape. You see that you've used around 75% of your supply, including the tape you used to construct the hut and furniture. It's not as strong as fresh duct tape, but it still does the job. After the base and oars are finished, you create a small hut to shelter your food and supplies and protect them from waves. Also, you make a mast out of wood and use a piece of cloth as a sail. You put the raft on the water and begin rowing. So far, so good. You open the sail and take a break from rowing. You turn around and take a look at the island that has been your home for the past 5 days. You're going on a dangerous journey, risking it all. But if you remain on the island for too long, then you definitely won't make it. It's been an hour already, and the island is barely visible, but the ship is getting closer. You still have one more roll of duct tape to use in emergency situations. The waters are calm, and you see dolphins swimming around. You snack on some fish and drink some water before noticing that the waves have gotten larger. You prepare your sail and duck for cover. It's a good thing your raft is sturdy. Large waves crash against it, knocking off some of your food and water, but the raft is still in one piece. As time passes, the sun begins to set, and there's still no sign of life. You use the rest of the duct tape to repair the raft. Even though you lost some food during the storm, you have your net to catch more fish. You start a small and safe bonfire in a coconut shell, cook the fish, and start eating. You turn around and spot a ship coming your way. You immediately grab a branch, light it, and start waving it for the ship to see you. It looks like it will miss you, but then someone on the ship notices you. They drop down an emergency boat to pick you up and rescue you. It's safe to say that duct tape has truly saved your life.
You can turn ordinary matches into waterproof ones. Apply a thin coat of nail polish to the matches and let it dry. Once they're ready, they'll stay dry enough to start a fire even if you drop the matches in the water. If you get lost somewhere during the winter and need a drink, then don't eat snow. It has much more air than water, so you won't even feel much more hydrated. Your body also wastes a lot of energy trying to eat it. Even worse, you might lower your body temperature and could even get sick. If you find yourself face to face with a coyote or a wolf, don't turn your back. Slowly retreat while facing the animal. This might only work for a single animal, though. If you meet a pack, then the most important thing is to make sure that they don't surround you. Back away towards a tree and press your back against it. Then choose the right moment and climb it as quickly as possible. Several layers of clothing will warm you better than one warm fur coat or down jacket. Air will be trapped between the clothing layers, insulating you and keeping your body warm. If you get lost in the woods, always try to sleep a little above the ground. You can lay on a layer of branches and leaves as a makeshift bed, or stretch a hammock out between some trees. At night, the temperature drops and the ground becomes cold. Even if you build a fire, it could go out while you sleep, and the ground will be sapping your body heat. You're in a boat in the middle of the sea, no food, no fishing net, and you're hungry. It was supposed to be only a 3-hour tour. Well, guess what? You can catch fish with the help of shoelaces and any object – phone, watch, or keys. The shadow cast by the boat in the sea can attract fish, and a reflective object can work as bait. Tie your keys to your shoelaces and use them as a fishing rod. Even if a fish doesn't bite, activities like this are a good way to maintain a healthy mind on the open sea. A short meditation can save you from a panic attack. You need to focus on your breathing and try to slow it down. Your brain will quickly calm down and turn its focus away from the panic. Oxygen masks in airplanes work on the same principle. When you control your breathing, your attention is redirected away from whatever bad thing is happening. You can make a torch out of a log. Put a small log vertically, make a deep star-shaped cut on the top. Put dry grass, leaves, and sticks inside. Once you're done, set fire to the log and watch it burn for up to 3 hours. This should work the same regardless of the size and type of wood. Now, if you meet an angry grizzly bear, never try to run away because the bear can easily outrun you. Instead, lie down and don't move. Grizzlies only usually attack when they see a threat, so they'll often leave you alone if you show them that you won't cause them any problems. This only works with grizzly bears, though. If a confrontation is unavoidable, back away slowly and use bear spray. If you don't have any, pepper spray will work similarly and should disorient the bear and scare it away. Or not. Don't eat berries or mushrooms in the forest if you don't know exactly what they are. They could be poisonous. If you have no other option, eat the inner bark of maples, birches, and pines to fill your stomach. Use a knife to cut away the rough outer bark and get to the softer white stuff. You can boil it to make it even softer, or cook it over an open fire to make a crunchy snack. And if you're really starving, you can look for ants. They might not be the most appetizing, but they're pretty nutritious. If you don't have a watch, you can use your fingers to find out how much time is left until sunset. Raise your hand so the inside of your palm is facing you. Your fingers should be between the sun and the horizon line. See how many fingers can fit in this space. The thickness of one finger equals about 15 minutes, so you can calculate the time left before sunset. If you're lost and need to build a fire to attract attention, throw in a lot of pine, cedar branches, cones, and any unnecessary rubber objects. Your fire will emit more black smoke, which makes it visible from afar. If you have no water in the desert but have some food, try to avoid eating for as long as you can. The more you eat, the more thirsty you'll get. The body needs liquid to digest food, so it'll use up what little you have. A person can live much longer without food than without water, so don't be afraid to stay hungry. Hey, you found a huge puddle of dirty water in the forest. If you're desperate for a drink, you can fill your bottle and filter it into drinking water. To clean it, make a rope of gauze or clothing. Put one end into the dirty bottle and the other one into the empty one. Before long, the clean water will flow into the empty bottle through the rope, while the impurities are left behind. Before hiking, replace your regular shoelaces with paracord shoelaces. If you don't have enough rope, these laces can give you a few extra feet in a pinch. If you're lost in the forest and have nothing to warm you, then take dried leaves and grass from the ground and put it between 2 layers of clothing. This will help you stay warm for a long time. When you're lost in the desert, try to move as little as possible during the day. Find a shadow or create it from improvised materials and sit in the shade until dark. At night, you'll spend much less energy and use up less fluid while you walk. This will help you to avoid the risk of a heat stroke. If you fall through some ice, don't try to get out like you would in a pool. If you put your hands on the ice and try to push yourself out with your arms, it could crack and make you fall back into the water. You need to stretch your arms parallel to the ice surface and stretch your legs way back so they float in the water. In this horizontal position, start waving your legs as if you're swimming. Move your arms carefully without putting too much weight on the ice, and you should be able to escape. If you need to build a fire while it's too windy, here's what to do. Dig 2 holes next to each other and create a small underground tunnel between them. Make a fire in one of the pits. The wind can't extinguish it, and the fire gets its air through the second pit. This method is also useful if you need to build a fire without drawing attention. In the dark, this kind of fire won't be visible. Don't throw away or pop bubble wrap. Take it on a hike with you. It will protect you from the cold better than even a thick blanket would. Those tiny air bubbles are perfect insulation. Just put it in between layers of clothing and it'll stop any warmth from escaping. The plastic it's made of is also waterproof, so it can stop you from getting wet too. Swimming in the sea not far from the shore, you can easily get swept up in rip currents. If this happens, the most important thing to remember is not to swim against the current. This will only waste your strength and sap your energy, and you're unlikely to ever overpower an ocean current. Instead, try to swim sideways along the shore. Sooner or later, you should get out of the current, and then you can safely swim to the beach. If you're stuck in a falling elevator, don't try to jump at the moment of collision. Don't take a sitting position or stand either. You need to lie on the floor, facing the ceiling. Spread your legs as wide as possible, cover your face with one hand, and put the other hand behind your head for protection. You reduce the pressure on your body in this position when you fall. Ooh, you're lost. A rescue helicopter flies over the forest, but you don't have a flare and don't have time to build a fire. Use a small mirror or phone screen to reflect the sunlight. Aim the light beam towards the helicopter. Rescuers should notice the glare and fly over to save you. Now, if you're falling from a great height, try to copy a skydiver's position. Your head and chest should face down. Spread your arms and legs and bend them at a 90-degree angle. If possible, choose a place to land. Bushes or haystacks can cushion your fall. Water surface is only safe if you fall from a height of no more than 150 feet. Before landing, try to position your body vertically. Remember that it's always better to fall forward than backward. Protect your head and neck with your arms locked together. Actually, none of this will save you, but it will give you something to do before they name the crater after you. Now, if you're plummeting from a cliff, do your best to break your fall down into several parts. The shorter they are, the better. Each of these parts will absorb some impact of the fall. This way you'll have much higher chances of surviving. Try to grab onto a sturdy object, like a bush or a rock on your way to the bottom. It'll slow you down. If you see a piece of wood or a plank, snatch it too. It might help to soften your fall when you hit the ground. Most importantly, don't hold your body stiff. This is likely to harm your internal organs. Cover your head and try to land on your feet with your knees slightly bent. In fact, once you hit, everything about you will be slightly bent. But hey, you gotta try. If a building you're in collapsed and you ended up under a pile of debris and rubble, try to keep your panic at bay. Yeah. Your main task now is to protect your breathing organs and make your air supply last as long as possible. If there's enough space, take off your shirt or t-shirt and tie its bottom in a knot. Then put it back on your head through the neck hole so that the knot is on top of your head. You'll get a makeshift hood that will protect your face from dust, sand, and debris. It will also provide you with a bit of oxygen while you're trying to get back to the surface. If you're stuck in a falling elevator, lie down on your back and try to occupy as much space as possible. Your body fat and muscles are compressible. They'll absorb some of the impact force. If you can't lie down, sit on the floor. It's still better than standing. Your backside will act like an airbag in a car. But whatever position you choose, cover your head. The best way to do it is to put one arm in front of your face and the other on the back of your neck. If you get stuck in the wilderness, first of all, find some water. Check low-lying areas. If there are mountains, look for water at the foot of the cliffs. If you manage to find some rainwater, don't let it stay in the container too long. It may go bad. Pay attention to ants climbing trees. They're likely to be traveling toward a source of moisture inside a tree. A bottle of water can help you start a fire if you keep it under direct sunlight long enough. The bottle will act as a lens, gathering all the heat in one spot. Use fire and smoke to signal for help. Cover the flames with a big branch or with a pan for 3 to 4 seconds. This will gather enough smoke. Then let this puff of smoke go. Now, if you've fallen through the ice, try to get back to its edge. Don't pull yourself out by grabbing it. The edge will keep breaking, and this will wear you down in no time. Kick your legs until your body is positioned horizontally in the water. After that, get out of the water and onto the ice. Once you've made it there, don't stand up. Your weight should be distributed over a larger area. Then the ice will be less likely to break. Start rolling toward the shore like seals do. If you have a muscle cramp while swimming, try to turn on your back and float this way. Massage the bottom of your foot or the part of your leg that feels tight. If you have a cramp in the back of your leg, bend it at the knee and pull it toward your chest. You should be still floating on your back. Try to relieve the cramp by pulling your toes inward. If you get caught in an indoor fire, stay low and crawl toward the nearest exit. The smoke usually rises toward the ceiling. That's why crouching might keep you from inhaling it. If you have a piece of cloth or a handkerchief, put it against your mouth. It'll act like a filter against the smoke. Fall to the ground and roll back and forth if your clothes have caught fire. If you do have a fire extinguisher, aim it at the base of the flames. It's much more effective. And keep in mind that if you break a window, you'll let in more oxygen, and this will feed the fire. And here's what you should do to stay safe during a natural disaster. If you see the area getting flooded while you're outside, run away from any streams, storm drains, or rivers. Try to get to higher ground. If you're stuck at home, move to the roof if you think it's safe enough. If a tornado is moving towards you and you don't have time to escape, find a ditch or some low place. Lie down and cover your head with your hands or clothes. If a tornado happens while you're inside and there's no basement in your house, hide in a bathtub. Use a pillow to protect your head from any kind of debris that may fall down. The plumbing in the bathroom walls adds structural strength to the place. But if your bathroom has windows or an exterior-facing wall, pick a more secure place, for example, a closet. The more walls separate you from the tornado, the better. If you're outside during a storm and you suddenly feel your hair stand on end, it's your cue lightning is about to strike. Your skin might start tingling, and you're likely to hear some clicking or buzzing sounds. Immediately crouch down and place your head between your knees. But even though you should be as low as possible, do not lie down. The only thing touching the ground should be the balls of your feet. Keep your heels together. This way, instead of running through your entire body, electricity is likely to go in one foot and out the other. You can also cover your ears with your hands to prevent hearing loss. If you're lost in the desert, travel during the early morning hours. This way, you'll be able to avoid most of the heat. If you see a hill or some other high ground, climb it and look around. You might spot some greenery, buildings, or a road. You won't have such an opportunity at night. Many desert animals also hunt after the sunset. And here's how you should act around wild animals. If a bull is charging at you, stand still until it comes close. Then throw a piece of clothing in the opposite direction. Bulls react to movements, and throwing a hat or a shirt away from you will distract the animal. It'll chase the moving object. If a shark is moving towards you, don't swim away in panic. You'll look like something the animal will want to eat. Wait until the shark gets closer and start hitting it with your fists. Aim at its eyes, nose, and gills. These are the only vulnerable areas on the animal's body. If you meet a pack of unfriendly dogs, distract them and move away quietly. If one of the dogs still lunges at you, place some object between yourself and the animal's jaws. Now, let's say you've accidentally disturbed a swarm of bees, and now they are coming after you. Run in a straight line as fast as possible until they stop chasing you. An even better alternative is to find some shelter. It can be your car, a house, or even a public bathroom, and hide inside. Now, if you accidentally meet a bear, introduce yourself. No, wait. Actually, everything will depend on what species it is. If it's a larger brown bear, fall down and pretend you've passed away. Shouldn't be hard. But if it's a smaller black bear, which rarely attacks people, shouting and making yourself look bigger may help. You may also try to scare the bear away by pretending to lunge at it. If you encounter a snake, try to be as quiet as possible. If there's an opportunity to walk away, go for it. But if you can't avoid the reptile, raising your voice, banging two sticks together, or stomping your feet might make it retreat. Even though snakes don't have visible ears, they're sensitive to vibrations. And if all of these things happen to you on the same day, call the Guinness people. I think you've set some records. Now, when you need help in public, don't ask a group of people. Instead, approach individuals. Because of something called the bystander's effect, the group of people may not help you. This social psychology theory states that people are less likely to help you when others are around them. They assume someone else from the group will run to your rescue. If you're driving in the city or another area with a grid-like design and think you're being followed, turn right or left 4 times. You'll end up at the same place you were before, and if the car behind you does too, you're probably being followed. Don't go home and try to lose them. If you're outdoors while a storm is approaching and your hair stands up, find shelter immediately. Static in your hair means positive charges are rising through your body, reaching toward the storm's negative charges. You're likely to be struck by lightning. If a shelter isn't available, squat low on the ground on the balls of your feet, put your hands on your knees and your head between them. Making yourself as small as possible will minimize the contact with the ground and the damage from the lightning. Always carry a small mirror with you while traveling in isolated areas. It'll come in handy if you get lost. If you're stranded in the desert and a plane flies overhead, point the mirror toward it to reflect the light. If you don't have a mirror, signal planes overhead by waving both your arms up and down. If you're stranded somewhere in your car, don't abandon it. It's more challenging for rescuers to spot you without your vehicle. Unlike what's shown on TV, when someone's about to drown, they won't wave or cry out. They'll have their head tilted back, submerged in water. They'll attempt to keep their mouth above the surface by using their arms. When you see someone looking like they're floating or bobbing, trying to get their head out of the water by trying to climb onto the surface of the water, they need help. If you can't swim and you've fallen in deep water, don't panic. Hold your breath and let yourself bob up to the surface. Keep your back and legs straight. Try performing little kicks to bring your body back to the surface. If you're trying to save someone who can't swim, never approach them directly. They'll likely bring you down in their panic. Sneak up on them from behind, slip your arm across their chest, and make sure their hands aren't facing you. If they grab you, they can pull you under. Try to swim below them, come back a bit further away, and try to help them again. If you come across a grizzly bear, it's not your day. Now, don't run and don't make eye contact. Slowly walk away if it isn't close to you. But if it's charging, stand still, you can't outrun it. Speak in a clear, monotone voice and don't scream. Now, prior to this, you might want to research to see if there are grizzly bears where you're traveling and take pepper or bear spray with you. If a bear is within 25 feet of you, then use the spray. If it attacks you, curl up in a ball and lie on the ground. Stay quiet, don't move or panic till it goes away. Now, if a polar bear is chasing, but it's far away, start dropping clothing items, a hat, scarf, or a shirt, and run away. Polar bears have short attention spans, and they may stop to sniff your clothing. This will give you time to head to safety. By the way, if both of these bear encounters happen to you, then please remind me not to go on vacation with you. Moving on. If someone is choking, but they're coughing, don't intervene. Coughing means air can get both in and out, and they've got a partial obstruction in their airway. By helping, you could cause a backflow of air, which could either force out the hazard or dislodge the blockage and cause a full block. Just let them cough it out. Only help when they can't breathe or cough. When caught in a strong rip current, never swim against it. You'll tire yourself and it won't end well. Swim parallel to the shore fast, but stay calm and comfortable. Even if you get further out, you'll eventually escape the current and can head back to shore. Thumbs are the weakest part of someone's grip. If someone pulls you by the wrist, don't twist your arms in their hand. Try to push away, starting right where their thumbs are. Notify your State Department if you're going abroad. In the US and some other Western countries, you can tell the Department of State that you're going overseas. In the event of a natural disaster or a political conflict, they'll know that you need to be evacuated. They'll also update you on things that happen in the country you're visiting to protect you from trouble. If you find yourself in a stampede of people, you're in trouble as soon as you fall. Don't curl up in a ball and wait for it to be over. This can cause more damage. Try to grab someone's leg as they run past you to help yourself up and keep going. Sometimes, camping trips end with people lost. If you're in such a situation and trying to walk out of the camping site, take burned coal or wood sticks with you. Use them to draw messages on trees, rocks, or logs. The markings will stay there for weeks, and it'll be easier for the rescue party to trace you. Always carry a needle in your first aid kit. If you're lost, you can make a compass with one. You first need to magnetize the needle by rubbing the eye against hair, fur, or silk around 100 times. Fill a container with water, place a leaf on the water surface, and rest your needle on the leaf. It should start pointing north to south. When calling emergency services, first tell them your exact location and then the problem. Even if you get cut off, they'll know where to send the police or an ambulance. If you have a fishy smell in your home, call a licensed electrician immediately. It can come from overheated plastic and electrical components that can cause an electrical fire. It might be from an outlet, a switch, an electrical breaker, or something else, like the fish you're baking in the oven. If a snake bites you, there are a few ways to tell if it was venomous. You can ask. It probably won't tell you. Venomous snakes usually have multiple colors and cat-like pupils. Look at the bite area. If there are 2 deep puncture wounds, you were most likely attacked by a venomous snake. If the bite mark has tiny sharp teeth in a U-shape, it was probably non-venomous. Whatever the case, call emergency services and snap a picture of the snake if you can. Using your mouth to pull the venom out is even more dangerous. You've got more chances of getting poisoned than removing the toxin from your body. If you're traveling and exposed to freezing temperatures, you're at risk for frostbite. At first, a part of your body will become hard and pale. Then you'll experience aching, stinging, and numbness. To avoid frostbite, apply petroleum jelly on your nose, ears, and the tips of your fingers and toes. You did remember to bring some, didn't you? This brings up a reminder. If you're shivering while in the cold, you're safe. Your body is trying to warm you up by contracting your muscles. But once you stop shivering, and if you grow tired and want to sleep, then find a warm place immediately. You're at risk for hypothermia. You'll need a warm compress on your chest, neck, or lower tummy. Never apply a warm compress to your hands or legs. The sudden temperature change could force cold blood back into your heart, lungs, or brain, causing your core body temperature to drop. If you're lost and you need to drink water from a stagnant source, always boil it to purify it. Untreated water has bacteria or other oils and chemicals that can be harmful to you. The exact temperature and time you need to boil the water depend on the altitude. To be on the safe side, try to boil the water for 3 minutes. When cooking oils start to boil, they'll smoke and then catch fire. If that happens, turn off the heat and don't remove the cooking pot. Cover it with a metal lid. Fire won't survive without an oxygen source. Use baking soda to extinguish small grease fires. You'll need a ton of it to do the job. And only use this tip when the fire is small. Never use water. It'll cause the oil to splash and spread the fire. You got all that? Good. So, you're on vacation and things go horribly wrong. If you're falling from a cliff, do your best to break your way down to several parts. The shorter, the better. Each of the segments will absorb some impact of the fall, and you'll have much higher chances of surviving. Try to grab onto a sturdy object like a bush or a rock on your way to the bottom to slow down your movement. A piece of wood or a plank can also be useful. It might help you to soften your fall when you hit the ground. If your pan has caught fire, don't take it outside or try to put the fire out with water. It'll worsen the situation. Cover the flames with a metal lid. This way, you'll take away the source of oxygen. Your movement should be fast but smooth and calm. Remember to keep the lid between yourself and the flames. Leave it on until the pan has cooled. If a fire is tiny and manageable, you can use salt or baking soda to put it out. By the way, using baking powder, flour, and other cooking powders that look like salt or baking soda is a big no-no. They won't help you because their chemical makeup is different. If you find yourself in a panic-stricken crowd, your main task is to create some space around yourself. To do it, keep your hands by your chest, your arms bent at the elbow. Boxers often use this position to protect their vital organs. Don't cross the crowd's path. Move together with it, slowly drifting toward one of its sides. Be careful not to block anyone's way because, in this case, you can be pushed to the ground. If you're with your family, put the kid on your shoulders and let the weaker members of the family go in front of you. This way, you'll be able to control the movement and won't lose anyone. If someone's attacking you from behind on the street, stomp on their foot. Do it with all the strength you have and aim for the top of the foot. It can damage and even break several foot bones, which will make it difficult for the attacker to follow you. Now, if you get locked in a car trunk, try to send an SOS signal to people outside. To do it, look for the taillight's wires. There are usually at least 2 of them for each light. Find something sharp in the trunk and cut one of those wires. When you connect the ends again, the lights will flash. If your car brakes suddenly stop responding, ask the passengers, if you have any, to make sure their seatbelts are buckled. Then turn on the emergency lights. Inform other drivers you're having an emergency by using your car horn and long-range lights. With strong and abrupt moves, press the brake pedal. That's how you can create pressure in the braking system. After that, downshift carefully and put the gear shift into the L position. If your car has a mechanical gearbox, press the clutch pedal. After that, use manual brakes, but do it very slowly. A sudden movement and your car will begin to drift. To slow your car down, you can also try to turn left and right going from one row to another. If you've fallen through ice into freezing water, try to get back to the edge of the ice. Don't pull yourself out by grabbing it. The edge will keep breaking and you'll exhaust yourself in no time. Kick your legs until your body is positioned horizontally in the water. After that, get out of the water and onto the ice like a seal. Once you've made it there, don't stand up. Remain spread out. This way your weight will be distributed over a larger area. Then the ice will be less likely to break. The most effective way to help a person who's choking is to perform the Heimlich maneuver. But what if you choke while you're on your own? Well, make a fist with one hand and position the thumb side above your navel but below your ribcage. Grab this fist with your other hand and lean over a table edge or a chair. Then start pressing into the upper part of your abdomen using fast upward thrusts. Repeat them until the foreign object pops out. Or you can stand on your elbows and knees and then throw your arms forward really fast. You'll fall flat on the floor with your arms stretched out in front of you and your chest and stomach hitting the ground. It'll push the air out of your lungs and hopefully dislodge the object stuck in your airway. The whole process is going to be painful, but it can save your life. If you're at sea and spot a whirlpool coming toward you, don't panic. If you understand which way it's spinning, ride its side and use the whirlpool's current to catapult you out of danger. If you start fighting it, you're likely to get pulled inside. There's also a chance a whirlpool will dissolve or become weaker closer to the bottom. So if you do get trapped by it, take a deep breath and wait for an opportunity to swim away and up. If you're stuck in a falling elevator, lie down on your back and try to occupy as much space as possible. Your body fat and muscles are compressible. They'll absorb the impact force. If you can't lie down, opt for sitting. It's still better than standing. Your backside will act like an airbag in a car. But whatever position you take, try to cover your head. The best way to do it is to put one arm in front of your face and the other on the back of your neck. A lightning storm might catch you out in the open, and there will be nowhere to hide. Kneel or squat down with your head between your knees and your hands covering your ears. If there's a tall object in the area, stay away from it. There must be a distance of at least 2 objects' heights between you and this thing. Other people count too. So if you get caught in a storm with a group of friends, spread out until it's over. If you get trapped under some debris, for example during an earthquake, your main task is to protect your breathing organs. Plus, you have to make your air supply last as long as possible. Take your shirt off and tie its bottom in a knot. Then put it back on your head through the neck hole. The knot should be on the top of your head. This way, you'll get a makeshift hood that will protect your face from dust, sand, and debris. It will also provide you with a bit of oxygen while you're trying to get back to the surface. If you see a tornado closing in and you have no basement in your house, lie down in a bathtub. Use a pillow to protect your head from all kinds of debris that may fall down. Experts claim that the plumbing in the bathroom walls adds structural strength to this place. But if your bathroom has windows or an exterior-facing wall, opt for a more secure place, for example, a closet. The more walls that separate you from the tornado, the better. Smoke is the most life-threatening thing about a house fire. If you find yourself trapped in a burning building, stay low and crawl toward the nearest exit. The smoke usually rises up to the ceiling. That's why crouching might help you to avoid inhaling it. If you have a piece of cloth or a handkerchief, put it against your mouth. It'll act as a filter against the smoke. If you got stuck in quicksand, do all you can to keep your head and arms above the surface at all times. Start to carefully wiggle your legs. Quicksand should fill the space they once occupied. As soon as you can, stretch out on your back. It'll increase your surface area. Keep making tiny movements until your legs are free. You can also use backstroke motions with your arms. It'll help pull your legs out. If you've gotten caught in an avalanche and are being dragged along with a huge mass of snow, try to stay on top of it. To do it, make swimming motions with your whole body as if you were moving against the river current. When you feel the avalanche is slowing down, try to raise something over its surface. It can be your arm, leg, or a ski pole. This way, rescuers will find you more easily. With the other hand, make a small air pocket in front of your face. Try to slow down your breathing to save as much air as possible. Bottom line, If all these things keep happening to you over and over, you're not very lucky, are you? So please, don't invite me along on your next vacation.
You're hiking the Point Reyes National Seashore, and you bump into a mountain lion. Stay calm. You need to show it that you're not scared. Shout loudly at the lion. Wave your arms. If that doesn't work, start throwing rocks, branches, or anything else you can get your hands on. Aim at the ground in front of the lion. Never throw anything directly at it. That will only make it angrier. If the lion is getting closer, protect your most vulnerable spots. It will aim for the neck and try to grab your arms, so tilt your head forward and protect your neck. And don't make sweeping arm movements. When the lion realizes that you're not an easy opponent, it will probably back off and run away. You're in Yellowstone. Here you have to come face to face with the grizzly bear. It's drinking water from a creek. A safe distance is 200 feet. The grizzly has spotted you. It stands on its hind legs and looks in your direction. Now it's about the height of an average basketball player, and it weighs almost 800 pounds, so you don't stand a chance to win. You have to freeze in place. Grizzlies have poor eyesight, so it just might not see you. But then it starts walking in your direction. Don't turn your back to it, and don't even try to run as fast as you can. It will chase you. You need to seem bigger than you really are. Wave your arms and spread your legs a little wider. Always talk and shout at the bear. It will understand that you're not a humble deer. Try to make a clanking sound of metal. If you have food with you, don't throw it at the bear. Just put it on the ground and keep backing away while facing the bear. If it starts running towards you, your only chance is to fall to the ground and freeze. Bears aren't scavengers, so if it thinks you're not alive, it'll just sniff you, shrug, and walk away. Now you go diving on the Florida coast. You have to protect yourself from the great white shark. Never wear shiny and blinging jewelry when swimming. It attracts sharks. And never swim at night. This is when they go out looking for food. Lots of splashing water can also attract this marine predator. But if the shark swims towards you anyway, the rule here is 1. Do everything in your power to defeat it. Try to stay calm and swim to the shore. If the shark chooses you as food, there's only one thing that can scare it off. Try to punch the shark in the nose, eyes, or gills. Now you're in Africa. Here in the tall grass of the savannah, you see a lion, and worse, it sees you. The first thing you need to do is maintain eye contact. Don't turn your back to the lion and don't run. This 8-foot predator, weighing like 3 adults, is running at you at the speed of a car on the highway. But then it stops abruptly and continues to stare at you. Lions often make fake charges to frighten their opponent. At this point, you have to appear much bigger than you really are. Spread your arms and make loud noises. Then the lion can make another fake charge, and if you keep standing still, the lion will realize you're a strong opponent and go the other way. The female lion is way more dangerous than the male one. If it's guarding the babies, it won't stop and you won't stand a chance. Your safari jeep takes you to the next location. You see elephants peacefully drinking water. These guys can be 10 feet tall and weigh as much as 2 SUVs. They can even flip cars over with their powerful tusks. And now, one of them sees you and wags its big ears. It's bluffing. With those ears, the elephant wants to appear bigger and scare you away. It's also scared and won't run at you all the way. You must let the elephant know you're not threatening it. Don't yell or wave your arms. Take slow steps back until you leave the elephant's personal space. If it runs at you with ears to its head, it's not bluffing. Climbing a tree isn't a good option right now. It might ram the tree and you'll fall down. It might even tilt the tree with its strong trunk. You need to run in a zigzag pattern. The elephant is heavy and it's hard for it to change directions quickly, so gradually you'll start to pull away from it. But still remember that an elephant can run 25 miles per hour, so you'll unlikely escape from it. Now let's move on to the Nile River. It has the largest number of crocodiles in the world. If you are camping, take a distance of at least 160 feet from the shore. This way, the crocodile will not stumble upon your camp at night. Never take your eyes off the crocodile. It can take advantage of that moment and take you by surprise. Their top speed is only 10 miles per hour, but they can make charges at 40 feet per second from the water. So the only chance to survive is to stay out of the water. If not, the crocodile's weak points are the eyes, the tip of the nose, and the membrane in the throat. This membrane prevents water from entering the crocodile's throat. When running away from a crocodile, be careful not to bump into a hippopotamus. This is one of the most dangerous animals in the world. They can be the size of a business class car and weigh as much as a big elephant. And they can run as fast as horses, so they're sure to outrun you in a sprint. The main thing is to not frighten it. If you're standing far away, get its attention with a loud sound. Usually they will try to get away from you. Use this moment to back away too. But if you see a hippo yawning, it's a sign that you're violating its comfort zone. They can open their mouth at 180 degrees and have the bite force of a crocodile, so you can't beat it and have to run. The best option is to climb a tree or some kind of slope. Hippos have a hard time climbing high places, and if you manage to escape, you'd be one of the few people who survived a face-to-face encounter with a hippo. There's also buffaloes living here in the savannah. They can be as tall as an adult and weigh a whole ton. And unlike lions and elephants, they don't make a fake charge. If you see this machine running at you, it definitely has evil intentions. Their powerful horns and skull can bend sheets of metal. They can turn a new car into a pile of scrap metal. You can never outrun a buffalo, so your only option is to find the nearest tree and run to it before the buffalo even starts its charge. If you run into a snake, you need to freeze in place. There are endless species of snake, and you don't know if your opponent is venomous or not, so you definitely need to avoid getting bitten. Make smooth and slow backward movements. If the snake is following you, stop and start stomping your feet. The strong vibrations of the ground should scare it away. If the snake bit you anyway, try to remember exactly what it looked like. Better yet, take a picture of it. To neutralize the venom, you need to take an antidote to the specific venom of that species of snake. You're on your way to Northeast Asia. As you're going through the dense jungle, you see a clearing. Several wild boars are peacefully grazing there. One of them is a female with several children. It'll do anything to protect them, so it's especially aggressive now. Oops, it spotted you. Get ready to defend yourself. If the wild boar is making high-pitched, piercing cries, it's going to strike you. The first thing you need to do is to stay calm and stand still. You have a good chance that the boar will go on its way, but you see it starting to run. And now you have several options. A, you can run away. B, you can face the blow. And C, climb the nearest tree. The first option is wrong. Wild boars can run almost as fast as Usain Bolt, and when it catches up to you, its sharp tusks won't leave you a chance. Option B, stay where you are. Wrong. A wild boar can weigh as much as a motorcycle and be almost as long as an adult. A hit at 25 miles per hour will just knock you down. So the correct option is to climb the nearest tree. If there's no trees, then climb a car or a tall rock. You have to be in a higher position than the boar. When it realizes it can't reach you, it'll leave you alone. The most important thing is to stay away from wild boars. Never try to feed them or provoke them.
That's it for today. So hey, if you pacified your curiosity, then give the video a like and share it with your friends. Or if you want more, just click on these videos and stay on the bright side.